Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, the softball team has been on a tear to open the season. Our Jordan Gould joins us in studio with more on Shonda Stanton's squad.
And Indiana women's swimming and diving upset Michigan to win their first Big Ten title in 8 years. This is Hoosier Sports Night. Welcome into Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Maxwell Glenn.
And I'm Tamar Scher. The softball team gained a 14-0 record after their win Sunday against Loyola Chicago, proving their determination to dominate this season. Our Jordan Gould provides some insight into the team's success and names some of the team's main contributors.
Thanks, Tamar. There have been 45 softball teams to come before Shonda Stanton's squad this season, but none before have been able to accomplish what Team 46 has done. The Hoosiers are off to a 14-0 start, the best start in program history. You know, after that 4-19 start to last season, Indiana continues to shock the college softball world, led by their dominant pitching and timely hitting. In 10 of their games this season, IU has surrendered just 1 run or less. In 9 of the Hoosiers contests thus far, they've managed to win by 3 runs or less. Indiana has had some particular players come up big already this season. You have to start with Tara Traynor, whose 58 innings pitched this season and 9-0 record have already earned her Big Ten Pitcher of the Week honors twice. Traynor has been machine-like on the mound with an ERA of .84 heading into the Purple and Gold Challenge down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana this weekend. And with the bat, turn to Katie Lacefield, who exploded with 4 home runs last weekend to boost her total count to 5 home runs on the year. The Hoosiers accounted for 10 dingers on the weekend. I still have not mentioned Emily Gooden, a reliever and spot starter for this team that has yet to give up a run this season. Or how about Gabby Jenkins, who led the team in batting average last season? Stanton said that in her 23 years of coaching, she's never seen a team this special. They can run, they can pitch, they can hit. To the opposing team still to face off against Indiana, let this be a warning. The Hoosiers aren't just coming, they've arrived.
The squad will strive to continue their success in Baton Rouge on Friday in the Purple and Gold Challenge, starting with Stephen F. Austin and then number 10 LSU.
Indiana women's swimming and diving had an exciting weekend at the Big Ten Championships here in Bloomington. Our very own Michael Dugan joins us in studio to talk about the historic weekend. Michael?
Thanks, Maxwell. The women's swimming and diving team recently took home its first Big Ten title in nearly a decade and its 6th title overall. They outscored second place and second-ranked Michigan, who defeated the Hoosiers in a dual meet back in January by over 80 points. On day 2, Indiana wasn't expected to win any events. So, naturally, they went out not one, but 2 events to propel themselves into a big lead. A 111-point lead going into the final day, to be exact, one that would prove to be too large to overcome for everyone below them. Throughout the week, Indiana collected 14 total medals, half of which were gold, and 7 first-team All-Big Ten honors. Lily King did Lily King things as she became the first woman in conference history to win conference titles in the 200 breaststroke for 4 consecutive seasons. In the same race, Noelle Peplowski and Bailey Anderson finished with personal records of their own, and Bailey Kovac, Abby Kirkpatrick, and Mackenzie Atencio all had PRs as well. On the diving side of things, Jessica Parado finished her Indiana career on top and in dominant fashion. She won her 4th conference title in the platform dive and set a pool record with a final score of 394. Taylor Carter provided great support for Indiana by scoring all 3 events she dove in and finished in 7th overall. Throughout the week, Indiana swimmers and divers set 67 career bests and will be solidly represented at the NCAA Championships in late March. Maxwell and Tamar, back to you at the desk.
With 9 A cuts and 85 B cuts, the Hoosiers will head to Austin, Texas for the NCAA Championships. Competition begins on March 20th.
On Wednesday, the IU baseball team hosted Butler for their 2nd midweek game of the season. Our Austin Matricardi has the recap.
Gabe Bierman got the start for the Hoosiers on Wednesday. In his Bart Kaufman Field debut, the freshman went 4 innings, striking out 4 hitters and allowing just 1 hit. He also allowed a pair of runs in a turbulent 2nd inning. One came on a wild pitch and the other on a passed ball. After falling behind early in the game, the Hoosiers managed to come back and take a lead quickly thanks to a big-time play from a big-time player. In the bottom of the third, junior outfielder Matt Gorski stepped to the plate and sent a shot over the left field fence after being given the 3-0 green light by first-year skipper Jeff Mercer.
In that situation, you want to give him the chance to get a good pitch to hit. They go to a 3-1 count. There's no guarantee he gets back to another good pitch to hit. So you trust him, you let him have it. And he's shown good swings in those situations before. Doesn't overswing. He just goes up and takes a good hack, but under control, and he was able to make it pay off tonight.
Gorski's been impressive this season with an OPS of over 1,000, a trio of homers, and 7 RBIs in just 5 games. His teammates have noticed.
The dude's unreal. He works extremely hard, great all-around player. I mean, I love him in the leadoff spot too, because the dude just sets the tone no matter what. Walk, he's fast, obviously, steals bases, infield hits. It's a perfect spot for him, and I'm excited for the future.
In the immediate future, Gorski and the Hoosiers will be heading down south for a tournament hosted by Coastal Carolina this weekend. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Austin Matchcarty.
IU will head back down south for the Coastal Carolina tournament this weekend as they'll face Northeastern, UConn, and you guessed it, Coastal Carolina.
After a tough loss at the hands of Northwestern on Tuesday, the Indiana women's basketball team is in for a photo finish to get their best placement in the Big Ten tournament. The Indiana Hoosiers find themselves in an extremely tough position going down the stretch with only one regular season game remaining and with the team needing to win at least 2 more games to get into the tournament. The Hoosiers are in a must-win scenario. This weekend, in-state rival Purdue comes to town for another clash with the Hoosiers, and this time they aren't fighting for bragging rights as the winner gets a first-round bye in the Big Ten tournament in Indianapolis next weekend. For the Hoosiers, a lot of the responsibility may fall on the shoulders of starting point guard Allie Patberg, who just returned from her shoulder injury, to give them a boost they need to go the rest of the way. The Hoosiers will take on the Boilers at 12 o'clock this Sunday before heading to the Big Ten tournament next week.
Sitting at a 6-12 record, Indiana wrestling dominated their senior day, ending regular season on a high note. Our Stephen Walker has the recap.
I'm standing here on the mat at Wilkinson Hall where the Indiana Hoosiers swept every single match against Chattanooga Sunday afternoon and were out to a 32-0 victory for senior day. This is their first shutout victory since 2015, a perfect way for the seniors to go out. And head coach Angel Escobedo knows that he's going to be losing an outstanding senior class.
Yeah, I'm going to really miss these guys. They're a great group. They're just, they're great wrestlers, but better men off the mat, and that's the biggest thing.
Elijah Oliver took the mat first for IU, only fitting that a senior got the Hoosiers started on senior day. The 3-time NCAA qualifier won his match 7-5 to get things rolling. Jake Danishek shut his opponent out 6-0, and Bryce Martin and Buddy Conley finished their careers off with major decisions. Then Fletcher Miller had all the pressure on him as he not only looked to keep IU perfect, but he wanted to go out on a positive note as well. Fletcher didn't disappoint at all and won his match 6-3. Every single senior won their match in an impressive senior day showing. Miller and the other seniors gave lots of credit to Escobedo and how he prepared them for big matches in his only year as their head coach.
Since I've had him as a coach the last 2 years, he's really helped me become a better person and a better wrestler at the same time. It makes everything more fun, having him around, so I'm thankful.
The Hoosiers have a couple weeks off to practice and get set for the Big Ten qualifiers starting March 9th up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Escobedo plans to use this momentum to prepare his team and get them ready for the challenge. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Stephen Walker.
After the season, the wrestling squad will lose 5 senior leaders. Next stop for the Hoosiers is the Big Ten Wrestling Championships beginning March 9th in Minneapolis.
The Wisconsin Badgers came to town after 2 overtimes. It was the Hoosiers who went home with the W. IUS TV men's basketball beat reporter Dan Black has more on the upset.
With an opportunity to snap a 5-game losing streak, Indiana had all hands on deck in their Tuesday night battle with Wisconsin. It took 2 halves and not 1 but 2 overtimes for the Hoosiers to upset the number 19 Badgers 75-73. IU had to battle at all facets of the game, but their offense was key early on. The Hoosiers scored only 33 points in the first half, but the offense was fluid. The second half was a different story, but when Juwan Morgan went down with an injury for a bit, the team seemed to change.
Home crowd got into it, and I feel like that boosted us, and the next man up stepped up, and that helped us a lot.
The Hoosiers had to force multiple overtimes that ended with Romeo Langford hitting a buzzer-beating layup for the win. The Hoosiers have faced these types of close games many times throughout this season, but with a much different result. Tonight, though, head coach Archie Miller felt that there was something different for one reason in particular.
Guys look like they're playing with more confidence right now. They're using their energy level and their effort to give them confidence, which is what we had at one point in the season. We weren't always perfect on offense and we weren't shooting the ball well, but the one thing we had was we had a confidence about us that we can compete, we can play hard, we can defend, and we're doing that again.
This game was just the second time the Hoosiers played back-to-back overtime games in 19 years. They now look ahead to hosting Michigan State Saturday afternoon. For IOSV Sports, I'm Dan Black.
Tip-off is scheduled for 12 p.m. You can catch the game on Fox.
When Hoosier Sports Nite continues, IU men's soccer was back on the field this weekend for 2 matches versus 2 in-state opponents.
And both tennis teams hit the hard court over the weekend. You're watching Hoosier Sports Nite.
The Indiana men's soccer team kicked off its spring season with a couple of victories at Mellencamp Pavilion. In 2 matchups closed to the public, the Hoosiers played 2 9-versus-9 matchups against Valparaiso and University of Indianapolis. Against the Crusaders, IU came up on top 4-1 with a brace by Ian Black and goals by Ryan Wittenbrink and newcomer Cyan Waver. In the latter matchup, IU shut out UIndy 5-0. Black and Joe Schmidt scored 2 goals each, and Wittenbrink got a goal as well. Up next, Indiana will head to Westfield, Indiana to face DePaul before flying to Mexico City for a pair of friendlies against the Cruz Azul U20 squad and the University of Mexico.
Princeton and DePaul came to Bloomington over the weekend, and the Hoosiers walked away with an even split. In the first match of the weekend, Madison Appel and Michelle McCamey were the only 2 Hoosiers to record wins. The Tigers went on to win the match 5-2, despite losing 4 first sets in singles. On Sunday, Indiana took the doubles point, but DePaul answered with 3 singles wins. When both teams were tied at 3, it all came down to Jelly Bozovic at number 4 singles. The match went into a 3rd set, but she was able to clinch the match with a 6-2 victory. All eyes were on Bozovic, but she said that's right where she wants to be.
I mean, I like the pressure. Personally, I do. I think I play better with the pressure on me. I think it's fun also, so yeah, in the end, I mean, I was having a great time.
The 7-5 Hoosiers will try and continue the excitement this weekend against Cornell and Miami University.
The men's tennis team took on rival Purdue for their first Big Ten matchup all season. One team left with a comeback victory. Fans were given Beat Purdue signs and things quickly got electric in the IU Tennis Center. There was plenty of tension early on as both teams got heated after the Boilermakers took on an early 2-0 lead. Regardless, the Indiana refused to go down without a fight. Led by sophomore Andrew Redding, the Hoosiers stormed back to win 4 straight matches, ultimately defeating their arch rivals.
We're not just playing any other team, and also I knew my match would matter today, so I don't want to lose to Purdue, and it makes me a little more alert. You know, every point I'm a little more locked in, I feel like, because it is Purdue. I know what they're capable of. You know, I don't want to lose to them like we just lost them in basketball, so we want to go get the revenge, and we did it. So.
The victory secured a winning start to conference play. The Hoosiers will take on their second Big Ten team, Northwestern, on Friday at 6 p.m. in Bloomington.
Back on the course, the women's golf team struggled in the Westbrook Invitational last weekend. The Hoosiers finished tied for 11th out of a field of 16 schools, shooting a combined 4 over par. Freshman Alexis Maistowski led the way for Indiana, shooting 5 under par for the tournament and finishing in a tie for 6th place. Maistowski's top 10 performance is already her second career top 10 finish as she continues her impressive freshman year. Unlike Maistowski, senior captain Erin Harper was not able to get things going in Arizona as she shot 6 over par for the tournament, finishing in a tie for 59th place. The Hoosiers will return to action March 18th and 19th when they play in the Briars Creek Invitational in Charleston, South Carolina.
The IU men and women track and field teams brought a pair of second-place finishes back to Bloomington. The Big Ten Championships took place in Ann Arbor, Michigan last weekend. The women's team secured second place with 83 points. Catherine Receiver grabbed bronze in the 5,000-meter race, while Maggie Allen earned fifth place. In the field, Kayla Dawson and Maddie Pollard went 3 and 5 in the shot put event, while Hope Purcell cleared her way to fifth place in the high jump. The men's team earned 91 points to also finish in second place, just 2 points away from first place behind Nebraska, who scored 93 points. Eric Bethea captured his second Big Ten championship in the triple jump. Ben Veach took home the silver medal in the 5,000-meter race, and finally, Joe Murphy picked up the last podium spot in the mile. Up next, the Hoosiers will travel to Birmingham, Alabama on March 8th and 9th for the event they've trained for all season, the NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships.
Well, that will wrap it up here on Hoosier Sports Night. Don't forget to like our page, IUS TV Sports on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at IUS TV Sports. For Tamar Scher and our entire production crew, I'm Maxwell Glenn. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.